my lovely friends, it's Margaret, and this is a reading vlog. Welcome to another edition of Margaret Reads 3 Things from her physical TBR that all have something in common. Today's theme is The Book Was Blue. I went through my physical TBR, found 3 books that had blue covers. You've all seen the funny displays and the bookstore employees talking about how, how customers continually will come in and be like, hey, I'm looking for a book, but I don't remember the title or what it's about. The employee will be like, well, do you remember anything else about it? And the person will be like, well, the book was blue. So we have 3 books that are blue that I am going to be trying to read in a reasonable period of time. At least one is an audiobook, and I feel like I'm really digging the audiobook right now. I don't know. I started it. I was like, this might be a good idea. Currently, I'm listening to A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. This is about a witch named Diana Bishop who's been trying to ignore the fact that she has magic, doesn't really use it. She just doesn't want to be a part of that world because of stuff that happened with her parents. It takes place at Oxford in England, and she has found some sort of really weird, like very special and rare text that is magical. Looked at it once, decided she wasn't interested in it because it was magical, and put it away, and now all of a sudden she has all of these people kind of coming going, hey, you've had your hands on this, we can tell, we want to know what it's about. So far I am about 9 pages in. I believe I'm 9 chapters in. That is definitely more than 9 pages. Something about it, like I just put it on and like it grabbed me in a way the books haven't been grabbing me in a very long while, and I don't know how much of that is that I am past the phase where I was focused on things that were not books, and how much of that is the actual quality of the writing, but it's very interesting, and like I'm enjoying the character and what we're talking about, and it's very like she's an academic, that kind of thing. Also, because as of this point I have read all of 2 books in February, and neither of them are what I usually read in February, which is lots of books by Black authors. That's like usually my goal, but I just wasn't reading. So we're gonna make up for that, and I'm gonna be starting The Cost of Knowing by Brittany Morris. Been on my physical TBR for a while. This is about 2 brothers. I think they both have superpowers. I don't know much about this except it was by Brittany Morris, who wrote Slay, which I absolutely adored, and then Cal from Retrieving Books, absolutely loved it. I didn't need more than that, because, I mean, it really didn't need more than Brittany Morris, because Slay was phenomenal. It was so good. And then there's also an arc that I've had for a very, very long time. I got it from the author at BookCon in 2019, so actually not really a long time. Like, there are books that have been up here for a decade. But I have The Forgotten Girl by India Hill Brown. This is a like middle grade horror thriller type thing about these 2 kids that stumble upon the ghost of a girl, and stuff goes from there. I don't remember all that much about it, but I remember it sounding really, really good, and it's middle grade, and I don't read a lot of middle grade, so this should be a nice, quick, easy read. Those are the 3 books we're reading. I am going to go do a couple of things around the house really quick, and then it's a really nice morning, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slap on some sunscreen, and I'm gonna go down to my local park to read there. We're just going to ignore the terrible lighting, but I am here in A Discovery of Witches. It's Monday. I pushed play on the audiobook and then I just did not push pause again. It is compulsively readable. So this came out in 2011, and it's very obvious that the author set out to write like a better Twilight. We've got the same kind of situation, except the woman, the main character, Diana, she's already part of the paranormal community. She's a witch. So, like, it's not quite as, like, random human is getting brought into this. She doesn't like using her power, but she is a witch, so she is aware of the things that are going on, and she does have, like, some knowledge of how to keep herself safe and what some of the dangers may be. And then we have the vampire, which is Matthew. She's in her 30s, so this works so much better than Twilight does. So it's got that. It's compulsively readable. I am here very, very interested. I've heard of things that happen later in the series that I may not continue on with the series. I do have a few issues. This handles the possessiveness of the vampires a lot better because we have a male love interest who is aware of that. He talks about it like as an instinct, and he does do make some attempts to curb that and to be better, but he is also 1,500 years old, so you still see some misogynistic, like, I am the master of the house kind of attitudes come out, and that bugs me a little bit, just because there are places where, and the main character doesn't put up with it, which is really nice. There are places where he ignores our main character's agency, or tries to. He tries to, and she's just like, nah, Bye. It's very funny at the beginning because he thinks she knows more than she does, and he's like watching her, like trying to keep all of these other paranormal creatures from bothering her, and like completely confused that she does not understand what is going on. It's well written. There have been some places where like they'll say something and I'm just like, okay, I want to die. Well, hello there. We're here. We've got an update, sort of. I needed to come on and bitch about the fact that there is so much purring in this book. These are vampires, not werecats. Why are you purring, my dude? Also, I forgot to mention in the last update, I think, that vampires mate for life. They've known each other for 3 weeks. Like, it'll be really good, and we'll have something like that where they're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna call each other husband and wife because this is a thing. And I'm just like, you've known each other for, am I just too dimmy for this? Like, you've known each other for 3 weeks and you're saying you're married. I need more time than that. I need more emotional connection than that. I would apparently not make a very good bride for a vampire. Otherwise, it's still pretty decent, because like there will be moments about this book that I like, and I'm like, I'm having a good time. This is interesting. I'm intrigued. This relationship is kind of cute. And then he'll purr. It feels like what Deborah Harkness really wanted to write was a shifter romance. That's what she wanted to write, and I don't know why she didn't just do that. Werewolves and witches go together too. Have you not seen... Which one is it? God, I can't remember the name of the show. The Vampire Diaries. Have you not seen the Vampire Diaries? There were werewolves all up in that thing. And witches. And vampires. Anyways, long story short, I'm almost finished with this. I want to be done with this book so very badly. But I need to know what happens. It has become more apparent that yes, she was in fact, like, hold on, let me check this. I have unearthed this bitch from the place it was banished to. Came out in 2008. This book was written in, what, 2011? Yeah, 2011. This, I bet, started out as Twilight fanfiction. I bet it. We didn't need this. We didn't need this one weird small detail. I didn't need to know this was a possibility. I mean, I kind of suspected, but I didn't need to know in book 1 that I can't tell you because technically it's I mean, never mind. Apparently vampires and witches can probably most likely procreate because she has been given herbal contraceptives by a vampire lady. I would like to exit this world. Did we need to do that again? It's really bad. I'm just mostly coming up here to like be annoyed by these random small details when I'm enjoying, like, hang on, 90% of the book, 99% of the book, I'm just like, this is awkward and weird, and I don't like how it's making me feel. There's just too much going on in this book. Just too much. I'm sorry. There's so much. Like, she threw the whole kitchen sink in, and then she went out to the garage and grabbed the sink from the garage, too. Hello, friends. I'm here because we have finished a book. I think I'm giving it 3 stars. Like, I enjoyed it. I had fun with this book. It kept me entertained. It also made me want to crawl out of my skin in places. I have heard things about stuff that happens later on in the series, I believe, because the stuff that Cal was describing doesn't happen in this book. Like, I would like to see what goes on with the rest of the series, but I've also heard that eugenics enters the equation, and I'm like, I have better things to spend my time on. We're moving on to our second blue book, which is The Cost of Knowing. This is about Alex, and he also has a younger brother that he is taking care of. He has, like, some sort of superpower that allows him to, or means that when he touches people or touches certain objects, he can kind of see things that may happen in the future. And one of the things that he touches is a picture of his brother, and he sees his brother's potential death. I'm gonna be listening to this on audio, and I'll update you when I get more in it. Now, we have a cool thing that I got. Let's see if I can do this without flashing you guys my address. This has nothing to do with books, but I got this, and I wanted to unbox it on the camera. Look at the blue stars! Oh my god, it's so pretty. Can't wear it. It's warm here now. But look at that. We are so close to the end of this book, and I realized I haven't updated y'all for it all. This is where we are. I'm on page 252. This is a book. Alex literally gets no break from this. Like, I've read other books where people, like, touched stuff and saw stuff, and it wasn't, like, literally every single thing they touched. He literally, like, it affects his daily life because every time he touches something, he sees himself doing something with it. When he opens his phone, he sees himself opening his phone. That would really hinder you being able to live in the moment. It's given him incredible anxiety. I thought we were going into a book about him trying to change the future, but, maybe he does. I don't know. I haven't got, but a lot of this, like, he's realized at this point he can't actually change things. Like, even if he tries to warn people, him warning them often is like the catalyst for the thing. It's one of those things that he's kind of just accepted that these things happen. And so instead of trying to like stop his brother from dying, he kind of goes into it like, I want to be present with my brother in these last few days that I think he has. I think this book is gonna hurt so bad. It already hurts. Like, there was a scene with him trying to figure out how to get rid of his powers that had just had me going, whew. I had to like just, I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew it. I knew what I was getting myself into. I was not prepared for what I was getting myself into. It's so good. I will say there are quite a few trigger warnings in this, especially involving grief and death of a family member. We start out with Alex having lost his parents several years ago, and kind of how that's affected him. So a lot of this is spent examining grief. The way Brittany Morris was able to find this space between grief and hope in this book. So much of this is about Alex moving on. So much of this is about Alex coming to understand, like really understand things he's known all his life. A lot of this has to do with racialized violence and the assumptions and the way that black kids, especially black boys, are seen as older than they are. Check in with yourself. Be careful. Know that it gets really intense and it gets really, like, I had anxiety as I'm getting through the end of the book. I don't want to say it's dark, but I do want to say there are some moments in here that are very, very heavy. So know that. Like, there is so much in here that I don't have, like, I'm not the person to be talking about it. There are so many better reviews, but like, just check it with yourself before you read it, but it is well worth reading. It's so good. At least we have one winner at least, and I'm hoping the next one will also be a winner, and that is The Forgotten Girl by India Hale Brown. That is our last book on this thing. I'm wondering if I might be able to finish this in a day. Hello, we have an update. It's going to be a quick one because I don't have a lot of memory on this card. I am at some point in this book. Alright, so I think I stopped about here, which is like page 95. This book is creepy as heck. I have read adult novels and YA novels that have not been as, like, disconcerting as this is. India is doing such a good job with, like, the existential dread of, like, you knowing what's gonna happen, and this girl also, like, but not being afraid of the right thing. The setup for this book is that our main character Iris and her friend Daniel sneak out one night to go play in the first snowfall because Iris really wants to play in this first snowfall, and they go back to a little, like, forest clearing behind their house. They're making snow angels, and one of the snow angels that she makes is on top of this grave, which ends up being the grave of this little girl, Avery Moore. She is, or what they discover is that this is part of a segregated cemetery from when the town buried white people and black people in separate cemeteries. Basically, this little girl's ghost shows up and is like, I want to be friends with you. And I know it's going to get a whole lot more creepy at some point, but we're doing a lot of parallels between Avery, who's been forgotten, the cemetery's been forgotten, and then we have Iris, who feels very forgotten in lieu of her younger sister, who is also in this phase where she wants to be just like her big sister. We're going back and forth between that. Like, we just had a moment where Mom said she was going to do something for Avery, and then she forgot to come do that. Like, it's really interesting because, like, she's obviously in a very loving home, but she's still having those feelings of being forgotten. She's also dealing with the fact that her school keeps leaving her out of stuff, and she's one of the only black kids in the school, and, like, there are continually things, like, she'll be involved in that she and her mom will not be notified for, so that they can show up and they can be a part of it. It's got a lot of, like, I think, commentary in a way that kids will understand. I'm gonna try and finish this today, and then we'll be done with this particular little vlog project. Hello, my lovely friends. We are here to wrap this up. I think I have like 16 minutes on the card, so we're gonna try and make this quick. We have finished another round of I Read 3. I read A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness, gave this 3 stars. It was all right. Like, I wasn't bored while I was reading it, but there were definitely places where I was just like, this book is too much. Like, there is too much going on here. And I did like some of like where they're talking about, oh, our species is evolving, or these several species are evolving, which, like, you all look like humans. Vampires obviously are kind of dead, but like the demons and the witches, I don't know why they're not just humans, like just another species of human. They act like demons, witches, and vampires are completely separate from humanity. And I'm like, no, that's not how things work. I feel more comfortable with the situation here than I think I would feel reading Twilight now. She is a full-ass adult when she meets this several hundred-year-old vampire, and so I really appreciated, like, the fact that the author thought that through. I don't know if I'm going to continue on with the series just because some of it just got so weird. It just got so weird for me. I was just like, guys, come on. Do we need to... Is this a conversation that needs to be being had right now? This is awkward. I don't like it. Bye. The next one I finished was The Cost of Knowing by Brittany Morris. This is 4 stars. This is a very emotional book about prejudice. It is about people not being able to let go of their past preconceptions. It is about just, like, there is so much going on in this book, but it is primarily about the anxiety of this boy knowing that there are certain things he cannot change. In this case, it is the future, but it also ties in with a very, like, parallels kind of the things that he cannot change about how society sees him. But it was really good. It was so good. It was like, I put it on and I didn't stop listening to it. And then the final one that I finished was The Forgotten Girl by India Hill Brown. This one was so creepy. I ended up giving this 4 stars as well. This one is really interesting because the main story is about these segregated graveyards. It was such an interesting, like, look at generational trauma and the bias and racism that children face every day. Some of the stuff that happens to our main character is stuff that happened and hurt the author herself. This has such a lovely storyline of friendship, and it also talks about, like, what it's like to be forgotten, what it's like to feel like people are not thinking of you. There are several instances where our main character, Iris, is left out of things. Definitely probably intentional that she's been left out of these things because everyone else gets an email or gets told this thing, but she does not. If your kid can deal with the spooky, I think this is a really good way to introduce specifically, like, topics in regards to bias and racism. She doesn't go into detail, she doesn't overly explain it, but there will just be little things here and there that if you know anything about Black history, you know what they mean. It puts it in a way that, like, if the kid is not ready to be having that discussion, they're not gonna, like, they're just gonna go right past it. But if they are ready to be having that discussion, it opens the door for questions. Highly recommend this. I will be putting this up on my Twitter to see if there is anyone who would like to get their hands on this. Highly recommend this. This is an ARC, so I'll either put this up on my Twitter and send it out to someone who would like it, or I will see about putting it in my little free library. I think if you pick up any books from this vlog, you need to pick up these 2. The Forgotten Girl and The Cost of Knowing. These are the winners of the vlog. This is okay. I would love to know in the comments if you have read any of these books. Have you read anything else by India Hill Brown or Brittany Morris? If you're interested to see what other things I have used for the We Read 3 series, you can check out this video right over here where I talk about 3 thrillers that I had on my physical TBR. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!